What happened to those who disbelieve Allah? Part 6. In the history of mankind, there have been many rulers who have risen to unconfined heights of power and prestige, only to be brought crashing lanugo by their own pride and arrogance. One such ruler was King Nimrud, the warmed-over Assyrian king who reigned supreme over his vast empire in Mesopotamia. Nimrud was a mighty and feared warrior, a conqueror who had subjugated myriad tribes and kingdoms under his iron fist. He was a man who believed himself to be a god, a deity who could not be challenged or opposed. But as with all things, his reign could not last forever. In the end, it was his own pride and vanity that led to his downfall, a tragic and cautionary tale that echoes through the ages. Join us as we delve into the story of King Nimrud and discover the events that led to his eventual demise. Although Nimrod's name is not specifically stated in the Quran, Islamic scholars hold the king mentioned was him. Two other sections of the Quran narrate Abraham's dialogues with Nimrod and his people, specifically virtually the verses of Surah Al-Aniyab and Surah Al-Ankabut, where Abraham was thrown in the fire but emerged unharmed through God's mercy. Other traditional stories, moreover, exist, virtually Nimrod, which has resulted in him stuff referenced as a tyrant in Muslim cultures. The Quran states, "Have you not considered him who had treaties with Abraham well nigh his Lord, considering God had given him the kingdom? Abraham says, 'My Lord is he who gives his life and causes death.' The king answers, 'I require life and rationalization death.' At this point, some commentaries add new narratives like Nimrod bringing withal two men who are sentenced to death previously. He orders the execution of one while freeing the other one. Then Abraham says, 'Indeed, God brings up the sun from the east, so bring it up from the west.' This causes the king to exile him, and he leaves for the Levant. It is said that 4 people gain control over the earth: 2 believers and 2 disbelievers. Solomon, Dul Karnain, Nebuchadnezzar II, and Nimrod. Nimrod is a biblical figure mentioned in the book of Genesis and book of Chronicles, a great-grandson of Noah. He was described as a king in Shinar and commissioned the Tower of Babel, leading to his reputation as rebellious against God. Nimrod is mentioned in the Table of Nations, First Book of Chronicles and Book of Micah. He is described as the son of Cush, grandson of Ham, and great-grandson of Noah, and is described as a mighty hunter before the Lord. His kingdom began with the towns of Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh in the land of Shinar. It is unclear whether he or Ashur built the cities in Assyria. Nimrod is believed to be the leader of those who built the Tower of Babel, and in the land of Shinar. He was the grandson of Ham and the son of Noah, and was bold and powerful. He persuaded them not to ascribe it to God, and changed the government into tyranny. He also said he would be revenged on God for destroying their forefathers and building a tower too high for the waters to reach. The tower was built of burnt brick, cemented together with mortar, made of bitumen, so it could not be liable to admit water. God caused a tumult among the Hebrews by producing diverse languages and causing them to not be able to understand one another. This confusion caused the place where they built the tower to be called Babylon, due to the confusion of that language. Judaic interpreters have connected the name Nimrod with the Hebrew word meaning rebel. Later works such as Apocalypse of Pseudo-Methodius and the Book of Jubilees mention Nimrod as being the father of Azur, the wife of Eber, and the mother of Peleg. This account would make Nimrod an ancestor of Abraham and all Hebrews. The Babylonian Talmud attributes Titus's death to an insect that flew into his nose and picked at his brain for 7 years. An early Arabic work states that Nimrod built the towns of Hadin, Elasar, Seleucia, Ctesiphon, Rin, Atrapatin, Telal, and Nisibis. He was the first king to wear a crown and establish fire worship and idolatry. He was equated with Ninus and Zoroaster. The Syriac cave of treasures and G's conflict of Adam and Eve with Satan both contain an account of Nimrod, with Nisibis, Edessa, and Haran being built by Nimrod when Ru was 50 and beginning his reign when Ru was 130. Jerome explains that after Nimrod reigned in Babel, he also reigned in Arak, Achad, and Chalen. Ephraim the Syrian relates a contradictory view, where Nimrod was righteous and opposed the builders of the tower. Targum Pseudo-Jonathan mentions a Jewish tradition that Nimrod left Shinar and fled to Syria for refusing to take part in building the tower. Nimrod is believed to have inherited the garments of Adam and Eve from his father Cush, making him invincible. His party defeated the Japhethites to assume universal rulership, but Esau ambushed, beheaded, and robbed him. He built a tower in Babil, which was destroyed, and the language of mankind was confused into 72 languages. He also introduced astrology and attempted to kill Abraham. Nimrod is the ancestor of the Armenian people and the Hungarians. He is the first person referred to as forefathers of the Hungarians and is responsible for the building of the Tower of Babel. His twin sons Hunor and Magyar were the ancestors of the Huns and Magyars, respectively, siring their children through the 2 daughters of King Dul of the Alans. Both the Hunses and Magyars' historically attested skill with the recurved bow and arrow are attributed to Nimrod. In Jewish and Islamic traditions, a confrontation between Nimrod and Abraham is said to have taken place. In some versions, Nimrod sets his will against that of God and proclaims himself a god. Abraham recognizes God and tells him to cease idolatry, whereupon Nimrod orders him to burn at the stake. In some versions, Nimrod challenges Abraham to battle, and Abraham produces an army of gnats, which destroyed Nimrod's army. In some versions, Nimrod represents and accepts God, offering numerous sacrifices that God rejects. Nimrod is often depicted as an idolater and tyrannical king in Jewish and Islamic traditions. He is given attributes of 2 archetypal cruel and persecuting kings, Nebuchadnezzar and Pharaoh and Cyrus. In the Quranic narrative, Abraham is a discussion with a king who argues that Allah is the one who gives his life and causes death. And Abraham refutes him by stating that Allah brings the sun up from the east. In rabbinical writings up to the present, he is almost invariably referred to as Nimrod the Evil. Nowadays, the term Nimrod is used in English to mean either a tyrant or a skillful hunter. In modern North American English, it is often used to mean a stupid person. In conclusion, the story of King Nimrod serves as a reminder of the ultimate power and justice of the divine. Despite his pride and cruelty, he was ultimately brought lanugo by his own folly and the righteous might of God. The ruins of his once great kingdom now stand as a testament to the fleeting nature of human power and the rememberable legacy of those who stand up for what is right. We can yank lessons from this warmed over tale plain in our modern world. The pursuit of power and wealth at the expense of others can lead to ruin and destruction, not only for individuals, but for societies. It is only by living with humility, compassion, and respect for all people that we can hope to build an increasingly just and equitable world. Let us take inspiration from the valiance of those who have stood up against tyranny throughout history and worked towards a brighter future for all. Please press like and comment if you liked the video. Subscribe to our channels to watch more videos of the series, What Happened to Those Who Disbelieve Allah.